Ben, good morning and pom to say.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. What would you like to say?
Eradi adom me hoye na also what to say.
I'm here to
Okay. First off, the Attorney General is advising say the yaka ya hu dede some time back ni nyina no. In fact, no cre because Torenko no as a company, woman ne capacity kra, woman betimi any TOR I go into such an agreement. First off, ma yenya the background explanation to this agreement na the kofa we nyina buy na fe yen trust.
It has meaning. I think that before I go background, Attorney General's statement on this particular transaction is just a waste of time. The India-America is a waste of time. I think now the company has moved from being Torenko to being Temple.
Yeah, Tema oil, right?
Tema Energy and Processing Limited.
I see.
The Attorney General will serve the good people of Ghana better. Temple or interrogate audit the financial viability and capacity to take over TOR because Torenko is no more in the picture. It is just a waste of time for us to discuss
existing company.
A dead company or an entity that does not exist or that hasn't got any transaction with Tema Oil Refinery. Is there on arrival? Just waste of time. Attorney General don't come from Macrae, but I know how some of these political offices operate. Sometimes on the issues now also discussed, on the bottom of a critical confusion. Na aye basa. Bosumi Nsia Achini and a company called Desma.
Okay.
Baso pese one Tema Oil Refinery Edijuma. The Tema Refinery for management there's a problem somewhere. We and a company and partner other companies to form Torenko. Torenko say no, there's a problem. So now Torenko is no more in the picture because now we have another company called Temple. And the reason why Torenko is not in the picture is that when they came together, the partners even realized that one of the partners, IFN Vitor or Vit Oil, has a financial challenge or problems with the finances. And for that matter, they had to take that company out and then create a new company because who take a company be out in terms of the ownership structure. You don't have to rely on the old name, which is Torenko. So they created a new company called Temple to take this particular arrangement. I was thinking that as an Attorney General, I had the petition, which is led by Ghana Transport Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union, or maybe within the shortest possible time, knowing the importance of that particular petition to the people of Ghana and to the TOR management and also the Bantam. I don't know why they waited for the organization to now change from being Torenko to Temple. After now the statement Abba said Torenko has no financial capability. Torenko is not even in the picture anymore. It's now Temple. So I think that further work needs to be done by the Attorney General. Meanwhile, the MPC Mekanjina said, you see, most of us look at this whole situation at TOR from one-dimensional perspective.
Okay.
I've seen many from Imani raising questions that Torenko, which is no more in the picture, does not have the financial capability, or the whole arrangement doesn't have integrity. I think they are looking at it from one point of view. They need other points. They need to look at the opportunity cost of this whole arrangement. For the good 5 years, 5 good years, TOR is not working. For good 5 years at TOR Jumano, we continue to pay their workers.
Yeah.
For good 5 years at TOR Jumano, we continue to pay for utilities at TOR. For good 5 years at TOR Jumano, TOR workers are more on retirement or more so trained, almost severance packages and our retirement packages. For good 5 years at TOR we've consistently changed about 5 managers to manage TOR. And these managers are withdrawing salaries from TOR, incurring a lot of debt on the books of TOR for future governments to pay. That is the opportunity cost. It is a the management of TOR or any other or the board of TOR thinks that Say enya adwuma no ye de mo obi kura na afi no kura no $2 million $2 million. A bit me aboa ama yetimi a restructure institution no ama some fitting be dom na to na yadwuma until say time be do ebeji ade. So if you look at the whole arrangement and think of only the financial viability, or think of maybe say be a contract now, yes, there may be problems with that. I think that we can recommend for a better contract. But look at the opportunity cost of this particular arrangement. That the company is not working. We continue to incur debt on our books. We continue to pay utilities. We continue to pay all sorts of income. We continue to even pay taxes, which is 8 pesos per liter. So you can manage it to us, that is the debt at all, that is the opportunity cost that I think that all technocrats must look at. So me, as a center, we have always called for what we term as partial privatization. Say to no be su wa ebema o man aboka. Na ye koso aboka ne de. Ye hia obi obetimi di sika kra be so aban de no amato ayedwuma. That is what me I stand for.
Now, is it deliberate say TOR no enye adwuma and as capacity no as a country yenne I bet with the digital.
So as Atamene said, there are a lot of options that TOR would have looked at. One is to list it on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Company enye adwuma for good 5 years. Company all liabilities ebrone ne assets. Company na Amene say no e make profit in the last 5 years or 6 years. Ultimately listing or Ghana stock. No, obi ampe no ale beto. You can't list it there. So the other option is to get people who are ready to buy your equity, your liabilities. It is a only company we know better liabilities. And as a person who year juma, but me more say busome. Now on one be running integrity tester. And no, and I was also then you maybe as a policy maker you look at other concerns I would be and recommend to the board to pick. Now we saw a question earlier say does still have the capacity. As at now Menuka say, Master, as a state we don't have the capacity to operate TOR. The reason is that TOR is in debt of about $400 million. And a TOR deka are buying a buy only already says to $400 million no. They are injecting TOR only ready. Are buying whether they are board of directors, whether the MD says on bear 5. None of them was ready to inject $400 million into TOR for it to be operational. We are ready. The government is not even committed to making sure that TOR works. I buy them better to be I don't know for whatever reason. Led by Minister of Energy, Mapu on percent to be and I don't know the reason why on percent to be now so on percent to be now company no idle company no because of the energy this corrosive tendency say the machinery will be ground best at it says how company no energy no currentino ube say periodic retooling and also cry a car then a management or a board things that say energy money young could deal be I don't know company no a year juma no more $2 million a year or whatever amount they are going to pay us a year. Now you can manage the company until say 6 years maybe I think that it would have been a better option. But
it being a better option, no Ben, does that mean say as I say you sign a contract be say company no SEO you tuye juma for a womuka and ye juma but a Ghana japa there in that sense, you know. As I say, the company no ma individual or no on the capacity no. To a far extent, the Attorney General is simply telling you, say, Sikana nipa no cross obeti me the abeshe company them no on the capacity to raise that money. Want me enya. Again, we share one ankasa ne technical know-how, any capabilities are what they eba be ye jumanwa. It is not there. It is almost as if what we said about ECG as against PDS. ECG ntimi nyeje nkane asika enkrofo eye illegal and for that reason no ECG boka on daily basis. Now yem privatize it partially yema a separate private entity meje sika no na ECG revenues no enkosro wo manage it do baby will come back for it again as a state I've do baby no PDS ne cry buy, directors etc. We do not know them. Now one more team abeji sika for over 2 years. Wabra will be a name baby a PDS sika no ekoye. Up till now, PDS does not exist. We do not know where PDS is, but one more abeji sika edeko. So is that the level we need to go as a country?
Oh no, not entirely. I think that maybe we all have to look at the contract carefully. The contract says that even before the transition period of 60 days ends, there was a TEPL, which is Torinco, because Torinco is no more in existence. TEPL, which is Tema Energy Processing Limited, needs to pay $2 million upfront on a contract maker. $2 million upfront, no? And no, it determine their financial capability to manage this particular company.
But is that even enough, Ben? We are talking about a company, a year of my assets. I'm very sure sir the pay a year you bought $2 million. It's quite funny to some people who may be watching us. Individuals be betting me receive $2 million for government of Ghana. And if that is the initial arrangement, is it even a good start for TOR to agree, says I say a call into such an agreement?
So you see, and that is why I think that we are all failing this country. To be frank with you, $2 million a year against nothing for a year. That's what I'm taking. I'm talking about looking at the opportunity cost of the $2 million, and that is where our concern must go. Look at the opportunity cost of the $2 million. It is small. We can even project our Tumukaka, and that is where the argument must go. Okay, 2 million, you sir. Mr. Speaker, I know you are agreeing. Oh, you're increasing for 3 million. You're increasing for 4 million. But 2 million, no crano, say, is sir. And you say 2 million in you. And my company in Yajma. Nadia no say, company ni say. These are things we need to weigh. And that's why I think that most of us are one dimensional. That is one. Now, two, the thing is that it's a contract that is subjected to termination. If Apple does not show that financial capability, 2 million insurance and a say I feel be no can be also sent here. Or told me also ye, triple charges also ye, we may be also ye. So one time, yes, I am now finish the contract we are terminating. And this particular contract, and let me bring other arguments in. This particular contract went through the Ministry of Energy, went through the Energy and Mines Committee. So I don't know why the Ministry of Energy is still silent on this contract. I didn't see a minister in Kasa. Because Tema Oil Refinery is under the Ministry of Energy. Tema Oil Refinery is under SIGA, State Interest and Governance Authority.
Exactly.
Because it's a public entity. Why are they not talking? We do not engage before this contract came through. If the Ministry of Energy has spoken earlier, there's finality on this issue. But Ono also on Kasa. Siga is on Kasa. Now it has become the senior managers at TOR, led by the managing director, and the junior workers at TOR, led by Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union. And I echo the background. And which I didn't think that the OSP as of now has not even locals, because as a Kasano, Torinco is not in the picture. It's Tepo. That is the picture.
Yes, but regardless, the same company no more some within.
It is not the same company because the ownership structure not assasa. Ownership me to be a Mr. Speaker every company. None me free the company no. It may be and I Sadina a Trese company is the old one in Nubium for Naba. In this for Naba, we need to look at the financial capability of this for Abano. Never say compared to say TOR no Nyajuma, and that has been my concern. Me the America TOR must work at a point in time. And if you are going to make sure that TOR works, let's listen, because you will not even get any entity, any business or any investor who will be willing to go and run integrity test at TOR, knowing the challenges at TOR. Let me look at it.
Is this say I tried a year in and I say we are making a conclusive statement? Say I mean the current state, it's not good for us because yenya investor be our fancy commission. I'm very sure say you're making any attempt in getting so.
Meanwhile, 5 years is enough for us to get an investor. 5 years. If actually we needed an investor, the last time TOR refined some good products for the good people of Ghana was in 2018. 2018, led by Honorable Isaac Osei. Is it the name? Former.
Yes. Yeah.
But on the time, and they refined 980,000 barrels, in 1 million barrels from that time. The permanent. Tanka Obi Beba and Kawaba, because TOR always presents its issues to the energy ministry. So this one has come. We may have challenges with its proposition. We need to carefully look at it and give certain recommendations for this particular whole arrangement to go through. That is my view.
Now, my main theory on this. Now, the Transport Workers Union believes the actions of the individuals behind Tema Energy and Processing Limited seek to induce workers of TOR with 20% of its shares through misrepresentation of workers in an entity by the name TOR Workers Charity Trust. What did you say? Yes. So the workers are telling you that even though the agreement coso, negotiations coso near the no, they feel say company is likely one more induce certain people within TOR to agree to this. So basically, it is not really a good thing that they are meant for good. Say, I mean, these are the workers telling you this.
So thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. These are part of the workers led by Ben Oshu, who is the chair of the Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union. Mm-hmm. So new workers mean a part of the workers, which are the junior.
But regardless, they are the union, so they form a part of the working group.
Which I agree with you. These are part. Now, part of the worker unions, the other worker unions support it. Now, you see, we also look at you are a lawyer. We also look at.
I'm not a lawyer yet. Please.
Okay, incoming lawyer. You need to look at how organizations are formed, their structure, and the ownership structure. Now, if you take the model of TOR, GOIL, this particular arrangement was premised on the GOIL model, where workers of GOIL were made part of the ownership structure of GOIL. Now, if you look at TOR as of now, what the proposition is that the company is coming to use the workers of TOR to manage the company. So the company is just like, we have the financial capability to bring the products. We are going to pay TOR this. However, we are going to use your workers to run the affairs of TOR. Now, using your workers to run the affairs of TOR, we want your workers to feel part of the organization so that if dividends come, these dividends will be shared to these workers as any of the packages you may call it. The workers, which they form as what they call a charity fund. In other jurisdictions, that is how it works. So I don't know where they took their model from, but in other countries, sometimes the workers themselves become part and own shares in the company. So if this particular model is to add workers as owners of the company, I think that there's nothing wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with it. It is not an inducement. It's just an ownership model, which is implementing it in other jurisdictions. For example, a company being a Juma some time past, a real estate company. This real estate company proposed that I should be, sometimes may packages be also major, or more percept packages, we are converted into shares so that never become company. Even the law firm, you do that, which you guys call partners. Mm. Sometimes a junior lawyer can rise to become a partner in a law firm. So ownership structure here, it's not an inducement. And that's why I think that the Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union have not stated their concerns right. To be frank with you, I'm getting difficult to understand what actually the problem is. Because one, they said the contract was not so, it was sole source. If you look at the contract carefully, it wasn't sole source. Two, they mentioned that the ownership structure has added some charity fund, which is a form of ownership structure of other companies.
Yes, but they feel in their case it is rather an inducement. They don't see it the way you see it as an expert. But workers within, they feel say that is what the company wants to do. Company juma unika kranye juma no. I mean unya profit in a first instance. Now you are saying say you want to allow the workers to own shares. Now the future of the company cannot be told. And they feel say it is a way of better still bribing them or whichever way. Now, one more and getting a better understanding or their consent must be given to this whole agreement. What must it be? They don't like it in that way. That thing has never existed with TOR. And a model like this, say if say a netto na a ba explanation will have to come. Say explanation in swako and a woman tiasiana omu say. I mean, it's some form of inducing them. I mean, they have right to say whatever they also want to say.
Oh, yeah, which I do agree. But you see, feeling is not knowledge.
Kessben 92.9.
Feeling. I think come over here, like I don't know how to put it, but feeling is not knowledge. Feeling is just a perception. The truth of the matter is that TOR must work, and I think that the Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union, led by Ben Osu, needs to relax their agitations and let the company. You see, you can, for example, the ownership structure now also on TSSA is an inducement. Have you even rolled it out? Have you implemented it? To look at, because I look at the other side of the ownership structure. Okay, if TOR workers fail part of the ownership structure, will they put they are all in? Company not turn into my then say they are not part of the ownership structure. And that is why in America they think of you, the employee, becoming the ownership structure, because they feel that when you become part of the owners of the company, you work and serve the company with your whole integrity and maybe credibility or maybe whatever expertise you have. Because at the end of the day, it's a dividends bar, which be company and that's in most American companies, that's what they do. So Petroleum and Chemical Workers Union, led by Benedus, I think that they have to state their issues clearly. Because as I said here, I don't actually understand them. Because my priority as a center is that TOR must work, and we must balance the opportunity cost of TOR not working and this particular arrangement. And it is a contract that if one party breaches this particular contract, you are an incoming lawyer, it could be terminated or is subject to termination.
Yeah, but we've seen contracts in this country, the clauses of termination, yet we terminate it in a very wrongful manner. Huge sums of judgment debt. And then what becomes of us as a state?
So did the Attorney General raise that issue with the Torrent-Co, not with Tepo? Did he raise the issue that it will be difficult to terminate when Torrent-Co, those former company, breaches the contract?
He hasn't said that, but he has been very clear. Say, I mean, issues any clear. What is happening with the company, any the mode of arrangement one more year, it is not clear. It must be suspended. That is the suggestion of the Attorney General.
And I'm telling you that it is true. The suspension has happened already because Torrent-Co is not even in the picture. Torrent-Co any picture, and the reason why Ahula Balu is the silence of the Energy Ministry, is the silence of the Energy and Mines Committee, because TOR Eshomasi is the silence of SIGA. SIGA Dina, State Interest and Governance Authority. Is it that the contract did not go through them? They don't have any knowledge of the contract. The Ministry of Energy, the contract did not come through them. They don't have any knowledge of the contract. The Attorney General, before, said, Petroleum and Chemical Workers, Eddie Omu petition on Torrent-Co, is it that the contract did not pass through the Attorney General's office? Or the Attorney General had no knowledge of the contract? These are questions we need to ask. So that Obiabe stating a point, and SBA contract, we are about signing it, then Attorney General comes as if they were not aware of this contract. Or the Ministry of Energy comes as if they were not aware. The problem of these whole contract issues is because of the silence of the Ministry of Energy. Because if they have spoken and coming to finality about this whole contract long time ago.
Very well. Ben, Mamena was said, now, and for the, and he will still come back to you. Now, you the Hong Kong mobile. Why? I'm grateful. And Ben Nsia, you know, Eddie and Komono. He's an energy policy analyst, bringing us to 18 after 8. This is Kessben, 92.9. But your messages, no, Embra.